Hey guys, I'm Jan Sharte, owner of the Boutique Academy, and I am here with Mina DeRay today. She's going to tell us a little bit about photography and how we can better use photography skills in order to grow our boutiques and take better pictures. So I'm going to have Mina introduce herself and tell us a little bit about what she does.
Hey, I'm Mina DeRay. I'm a photographer based here in St. Louis, but I also get to travel, so I also teach workshops on photography, videography, and just how to secure the bag on a budget.
Secure the bag. We all trying to secure the bags out here. So I want this to be more conversational, not interviewee, because that's not really fun. So we're just going to talk through a few of just like general photography tips that we can use in our everyday lives, because none of us, or the majority of us boutique owners, are not professional photographers. Most of us are using our phones to take our pictures, or we're taking the pictures in our houses and things like that. So I guess my first question would be, how would you go about deciding where, if you're taking your pictures in the house, how would you go about deciding where to take your pictures in your house, and just like some general tips for taking your pictures in your home?
So if you're going to be in your home, the biggest goal is to get near some lighting.
Okay.
The natural light is always going to give you that fresh look. So if you have a window near your home, make sure you are facing the window so that way that natural light can hit you. It's really hard to adjust the lighting when the light is from behind you.
Mm-hmm.
So if you turn towards the lighting, they'll give you a better, fresher look. I also recommend nice, clean space. So not having food out, dirty dishes, laundry.
Mm-hmm.
You want to keep your space nice and clean and
Right.
fresh. So try not to have so much clutter. I also recommend just something that represents your brand somewhere in the picture, or unless you're wearing your brand.
Right.
But definitely make sure your brand identity stands out.
Okay.
But making sure you are near a window, nice clean space, nice solid wall, or some type of decorations. I don't really think there's a right or wrong way, but definitely test it out, but definitely making sure it's not so cluttered.
Okay.
And making sure the lighting is
I
nice and
agree.
bright.
I feel like I see a lot of pictures where there's just too much going on in the picture, and you
Exactly.
can't focus on the person in the picture because they got so many props and, or what they think are props and
Right.
things like that. And it's like just you and a clean, white, colorful, whatever background.
I'm a minimalist, so
Yes,
I feel
me
like
too.
less is more.
Me too. Do you have any recommendations for, because some of the girls use backdrops and things like that they purchase through, most of them purchase through Amazon. So do you have any recommendations for particular colors that look best, or is there a particular color that they should go with?
I don't think there's a particular color. However, I think white is a fresh look. In that way, if you are modeling a actual like clothing item, then you want to keep the background as clean as possible
Yeah, so
to
it
show
stands
off.
out.
Exactly. So I think whites are good. But there's nothing wrong with throwing in like a colorful background for fun.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I think white is going to give you that fresh look, and it'll focus on the item that you're selling.
Gotcha. So like when you are choosing settings outside of the home, do you have any go-to tips for choosing a location outside of the home, for choosing like just a really cool place to take pictures? You got any recommendations or tips for that?
So it all depends on what you're wearing
Okay.
and what mood you're going for.
Okay.
So when clients come to me saying, hey, I want to do a photo shoot outside, the first question I ask is, what vibe are you going for?
Okay.
So there's a particular outfit you're modeling. Think about what feel do you want them to have.
Right.
Do you want to be more edgy?
Yeah.
Do you want to be at a coffee shop, like everyday look? Or do you want to be earthy? Or parks are good. So it really depends on what type of vibe or mood you're going for. And it's really based off the outfit. My favorite go-to spots are coffee shops. I also like a nice city scene, so I'll go downtown and use like the tall buildings for props and backgrounds. But I also don't mind earthy tones either. So it really depends on kind of vibe you're going for. I don't think there's a really right or wrong answer, but I will say, if you are not savvy with the camera, find a place with nice even shade. Because then what's going to happen is when the sun is very, very harsh, it's going to give you some harsh shadows. And if you're not a professional, it's kind of hard to manage those shadows. So finding a nice, even light is going to be best.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. I have a lot of shadows in my pictures, and I'm like, I end up throwing out like 72,000 pictures because the shadows are wrong. And I try to adjust it, but like I said, most of us are taking pictures with our phones, and your phone can only edit so much out of a picture. So I might be able to edit a bit of the shadow out, but there's still like this line or a line cut right across my body or something like that, and I'm like, huh.
And there's nothing wrong with shadows. It just depends if you have. I mean, a lot goes into it. You have to be able to control and to manipulate the lighting. But if you're not a professional, it's going to be really, really hard. So if you are just using your phone and you're doing it on your own, I would definitely say finding a natural even light is going to help you bring out a better looking shot.
Gotcha. Okay, so I got a story for you. So last week I got this message in my DMs on Instagram, which I get a lot of every day. And this particular question was about photography. The lady was saying that she usually agrees with most of the things that I say, but she felt like I was saying that if a person does not use original photography for their business, that their business is not going to grow, or that it's not going to succeed, or that it's just in some way not better or not as good as someone else's business who is using original photography. So my question to you is, I want to know, like, how do you feel, or what role do you feel photography plays in building your own brand? Do you feel like it's okay to use someone else's photography if they're wearing, they're wearing the same style or outfit that you're selling? Do you think it's okay for them to use the same pictures, or do you think that it's better for them to find a way to take their own photos?
First, I will say, me personally, I wouldn't use pictures from someone else's boutique unless I got their permission, because then people feel like, oh, you're stealing from me, or the photographer might also feel some type of way because then there's marketing a shot that you didn't pay for, and so that might put you at risk for a lawsuit as far as copyrights of photographers' work. So I'll definitely say I would try to avoid that at all costs. You don't want to say, you don't want to get the letter, I'm suing you. So I would avoid that. But if vendors are providing you with photos, I don't feel like there's nothing wrong with that. I will say you can use those, but I also think people want to see what their outfit will look on their body types. So I would say modeling the clothing item, and maybe using other people as models too, so that way they can kind of see what it looks like on different body types.
Gotcha.
Because I go on Fashion Nova's website and I'm like, all these girls got big booty and big breasts, and I'm like, I don't look like that. I'm sorry. So now I'm like,
it's hard for you to imagine what it's gonna look like on your body.
Exactly. So I think
stock body.
Exactly. Right. So I think it's a good idea to show different body types for particular items. So most definitely, there's nothing wrong with using the vendor's stock photography, but I think it's more unique to use your own, but I think you should mix it up. Not only taking shots of yourself, but also maybe using other people as well. But I like that you show different when your customers buy something from you. You show that on your Instagram and your Facebook. That's a good way to show. Use images from there, because then you're crediting your customer, but you also allow other customers to see what their outfit might look like.
And I think it's a good way to show like different ways to style the outfit too. Like everybody's style isn't the same. And I think that's another thing that people don't take into consideration when they're using another boutique's photos. That person styles it one way. Like, is that the same way you would style it? Is that the same way you think that your target audience would style it? So I think that's another thing they should take into consideration when they are picking photos. So don't steal other boutiques' photos. Don't steal mine, because I will sue you. Maybe. I don't know if I'm that mean yet. I'm getting there. But no, so that was a great answer. Thank you so much for answering that question. So as I said, a lot of us use our cell phones for taking our pictures. We are not professional photographers, but since you are, you can probably tell us what device we should use, or some pros and cons between using a cell phone to take your pictures versus using a professional camera. So what you got?
So if you're using your camera, the pro is you can have a really good aperture setting, which is portrait mode on the cell phones.
I was gonna say, what's aperture?
It allows a picture to pop more. And you can do way more editing with a professional camera. A con for a camera is trying to get it in focus mode.
Okay.
So trying to focus the camera, if you're doing it on your own, it's going to be pretty challenging.
Mm-hmm.
I even find it challenging when I'm doing it with my camera.
Mm-hmm.
So I prefer my cell phone when I'm doing recording. The
Because
cell
it's
phone,
autofocus.
right? The autofocus is way better
Yeah.
on the cell phone compared to a camera. So that's a pro for a cell phone. Is the focus is a lot easier. You don't want to record a whole video and then it's out of focus.
Like
I've done it. Right, you've done it too. It's frustrating.
Yes.
So I prefer my cell phone because I don't have to worry about the focus.
Makes sense.
The cell phones are also lighter to carry, a lot easier to set up. The only thing is with the con is if you're trying to do it on your own, if the camera is facing you, then the camera itself is actually not as good as the back camera. So the front camera is not as, I guess the quality isn't as good. So that's one thing I don't like. I wish the front camera would be just as good as the back camera.
Yes, I learned that the hard way. The first set of photos I took for my boutique, I did it with the front camera. And they looked okay, but like there was like, it seemed more grainy kind of. And then when I flipped it over and the second set of photos I took with the back camera, and I was like, why is it so much clearer? And I realized there are two different cameras on the front and the back, so that makes sense. Do you ever use like a remote to start or stop your pictures or videos or anything?
When I was using my camera, I had a remote, but I didn't. That's when I did a whole video and it was out of focus.
Right.
So I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna play with this thing. So I use my cell phone.
Right.
And no, I just push the button. Sit down.
Right.
Start talking. Do the pictures, and then I'll just, when you do the editing for the video, I'll do the trimming.
Okay.
Now, if it's for a photo, I'll set the timer.
Gotcha.
And just do the shot.
Do you have any favorite apps that you use for editing pictures on your phone?
Yes, I love Photoshop Express. I've tried Facetune, but I didn't really like it.
Facetune is not the greatest tool out there. I use it mostly just for like quick whitening of like if I'm on a white background and I want it to be brighter. That's about the only thing I use Facetune for. I don't use it for anything
I don't think it's user friendly.
No, it's not.
Photoshop, I love it. It's of course it's a lot easier on your phone than the actual computer software. But I absolutely love Photoshop Express. And I use that VSCO.
Okay.
Is it Visco? I
don't know if it's Visco.
Right.
Or the letters.
Right.
But
I like them for their filters.
Gotcha.
But Photoshop Express is my go-to, and then Visco.
Okay. Do you have any tips for like what, I don't know what word would be the proper words, but like say you're editing your picture on your phone or in one of those apps. Are there any particular, I guess it'd be editing tools that you or that boutique owners may need to edit or use to edit a picture? So like for instance, I usually have to adjust, not usually, but typically like the exposure, I might have to edit a bit, maybe a shadow, and I might use a highlight usually. So are there any particular ones that you think are like go-tos or?
My personal go-tos when I'm just editing from my iPhone. If you haven't noticed, the iPhones have really good editing tools built inside the phone already. So if you don't want to download any apps, the iPhone has good editing tools. And I primarily adjust the brightness. I adjust the black point, which is adjusting the blacks.
Okay.
I also adjust the highlights. So if you're using a backdrop, then the highlights will be a good one to use as well. And I always bump up my sharpness, my clarity, and what's the other one? Vibrance.
What's the clarity?
Clarity is, I feel like clarity is making it more like sharp. So I guess like the same. So I feel like it's just making it, it's not as, maybe it might be slightly blurry, but I think the clarity
makes
is
it a little bit more clear.
Exactly.
Okay. Gotcha. That makes sense.
So clarity and sharpness are kind of very close.
Okay.
The same.
Gotcha. Okay, so you guys ask me all the time what types of materials or photography tools and things of that nature that you should buy to take pictures for your boutique. And I always tell you just need a window and a nice backdrop. That's it. But some of you guys don't have a window, I guess. So we're going to talk about an alternative. So Mika, can you tell us what this is?
Yeah, so this is a ring light. You can buy these off of Amazon. So if you don't have access to a natural light or like a big window, you could use this as an alternative. but my go-to is a window, of course. So what you would do is you will just turn it on first off. And yep, it's on. So you have to face the light, so make sure the light is not behind you. And then what you can do is mount some of the ring lights have a phone mount already built in, but if you don't, you can just set the phone right in front of the ring light or behind the ring light. But the goal is just to make sure it's giving you that bright look. You don't want the video to be too dark or the pictures to be too dark. So this is going to give you some extra lighting. The other thing is I like is some of the ring lights have adjustments, so you can adjust the brightness. Okay. And then they also have like filters that can go over the ring light as well.
Oh,
so
like colorful filters?
So they have I think they're more like color corrections. Okay. But you can still play with the mood, with the I think it's like a blue one and a yellow one, and I believe like a white one for a diffuser, so it's not as bright. But yeah, so I have for my own studio, I have one on each side. Okay. Ring light here, ring light here.
Does it like help even the light out?
Yep. Okay. So the goal, so if it's dark, which is I like the point, is you put light where it's dark at. But then sometimes if I don't have access to both of my ring lights, I'll just use one small one. Okay. So that's an option. But yeah, if it's dark on one side, then that's where you go put the light. Okay. If you want a nice even light, you could use one in the front too. Gotcha. Just depends.
That makes sense. I have a really off the wall question. Not really off the wall, but I just randomly thought about it. What about taking pictures in the daytime versus taking pictures in the nighttime? Like, should they take pictures in their home in the nighttime? And if they do they need a ring light to do so, or some type of light, or do you just prefer that they take pictures in the daytime?
Of course, daylight, because my thing is the natural light is the best light. Yeah. However, sometimes we can't do things during the day. So if you can't do it on the weekend or during the day, I would definitely say using a ring light or 2 ring lights to take your photos. But I would recommend doing it during the daytime. It'd be a lot easier.
Is it usually better in like the early day or like midday, or is there any really better time?
The better time will be when the sun is not at the top of the sky. Okay. So that's 12 o'clock. Okay. So in the morning, like between when the sun is rising to about 11-ish, and then maybe like 1:30 until the sun is about to go down. I think those are like the best times. But when the sun's at the top of the sky, sometimes it's a little harder to get that nice light. But like right now, what time is it right now? It's so random.
It's probably like 1-ish maybe.
Yeah, but it really depends on where the light hits. That's the other thing.
That makes sense.
But if you're outside, I would try to avoid shooting at 12 o'clock. Okay. Yeah, unless it's like cloudy outside. Yeah. So that way the sun will be hidden behind the clouds.
That makes sense. So gotcha. Cool. Yeah. Thank you. That was a random question. All right. So well, thank you for helping us out today, Mina, because we are illiterate when it comes to photography. So thank you so much. If you don't mind, tell everybody where they can find you online or where they can follow you, and if there's anything else you would like to share.
Okay, so if you're looking for portfolio work, MinaTheRayPhotography.com. But if you're looking for more education, tips on photography, you can go to MinaTheRay.com or follow me on Instagram at Mina.TheRay.
Thank you very much. So this has been our first video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know we were really goofy. And I promise you all the rest of the videos will be just like this. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you, Mina, for being here.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Yay!